You're listening to this week's episode of the Vacation Rental Business in Today's World podcast. You're about to start transforming your business and life with the information found here. We interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in the vacation short-term rental industry and supporting businesses. The information found here is a combination of brain science, transformational thinking, safety and loss prevention, and vacation short-term rental knowledge and experiences, all rolled into one to help you and your business to achieve levels you never thought possible. I am glad you are here, and now please welcome your host, Eric Thibodeau.
Hello, everyone. We're back again, and here today we have Brooke Pfautz with Vintory. Good morning, or good afternoon, Brooke.
How's it going, Eric?
It's going well. How have you been?
Doing well. Just keeping busy, that's for sure.
Great. Where are you at today?
I'm in my the worldwide headquarters of Vintory, which is located in Baltimore, Maryland.
Great. Yep. I'm in back in Friendswood, Texas, south of Houston. I was in Gulf Shores last week. We were working on some properties there, so it's good to be home for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and an idea of your background experiences in vacation rentals.
Yeah. Well, first off, Eric, thanks for hosting this, and I'm really appreciate everything you've done for the industry here. This has been fantastic. But so I've been in the vacation rental industry for about 13 years. Founded a company called Vantage Resort Realty in Ocean City, Maryland. Didn't know anything about vacation rentals, but I stumbled into it and grew that company pretty quickly. Grew it to about 500 properties under management, and then realized I was really good and I enjoyed sales and marketing, but I didn't enjoy being a GM and an operator. So I had a good opportunity to exit that business. So I sold that business, and I moved down to, or commuted down to Orlando for the next 5 years, where I was Chief Business Development Officer for a large luxury vacation rental manager down there. And that was nice because I didn't have to worry about operating. All I had to worry about is, building up a team to add inventory. And then from there, I went over to LiveRes, where I was VP of Sales and Marketing. And then about 2 years ago, I started Vintory. And that's my 13-year career, if you will, in vacation rentals.
Great. Yeah. And it sounds like you also stumbled into the industry. This wasn't what you were planning to do when you grew up.
No. Yeah. I don't know too many people that actually, went to, vacation rental school, in college. There are a couple out there, but not very many. But yeah, I graduated with a degree in corporate finance, ended up going into mortgage banking, built up a mortgage company built it up pretty well. And, we had about 100 employees, closing about $350 million a year in loans, was probably one of the largest mortgage companies in kind of the Baltimore, DC area. And then we know what happened with kind of 2006, 2007, and had the opportunity. I was in a group called YPO, Young Presidents Organization, and a gentleman that was in my group said, "Hey, Brooke, I've had this idea to start a resort real estate company that focuses on short-term vacation rentals. I want you to be my business partner. I want you to be kind of the president and CEO. You want to do this." And I looked at the last time I took a paycheck at my mortgage company and said, you know what, maybe that's probably a good thing. And so October 2007, we launched Vantage Resort Realty, and that's how we kind of got into it.
Great. So today you're running Vintory. So tell us about Vintory and why'd you start this company?
Yeah, well, thanks, Eric. It's Vintory. The best way to explain us is we are a sales and marketing platform that does one thing and one thing only, and that's help professional vacation rental managers grow their inventory. So we're not focusing on guest marketing. We're not focused on operations. Our focus is exclusively on inventory acquisition, or growing more properties into your rental program. And the reason I did this is when I had my company, and when I was at the other company down in Orlando, and even when I was at LiveRes, I saw one of the biggest challenges out there for most vacation rental managers was inventory acquisition. They didn't have the capital resources to build out an entire team, build out a, content person, hire a data analyst or a data scientist, hire copy and content people, business development people, build this huge team to grow your inventory. They didn't have the ability to do that. But I also saw these, larger, call them these large venture-backed companies out there. They were doing that, and they were very successful. So what I wanted to do was really, in essence, Eric, is I wanted to level the playing field. I wanted to allow the average mom and pop shop, if you will, that couldn't afford that, build that team. I wanted to build that team for them, but spread it across multiple partners. Therefore, you could kind of dollar cost average it and allow those, smaller management companies go head to head against the big boys, these large venture-backed conglomerates, and go toe to toe with them, go head to head against them and win. And that's what we did here at Vintory.
Yeah, and of course, we're one of your partners, and I remember when we had this discussion back in March, and COVID was just starting, and I said, "Let's go, let's do it." And COVID bumps along the way, but certainly working to grow our inventory, and we appreciate everything that you're doing for us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
In current tides, yeah.
Mhm.
So why is inventory growth so important? I mean, I think we kind of understand that, excuse me, that we have to have more owners and more properties, but I think that's intuitive, but really why?
Well, and that's a great question. And it comes down to there's always going to be natural attrition. You're always going to have, or churn. Churn is when you lose inventory. And even if you're the best, most well-run company on the planet, you're going to have that natural attrition and churn. So what can you do? It's like I say, businesses are like trees, right? They're either growing or they're dying, and you have to continually be in that growth mode. So just to keep up, just to stay flat and steady, you need to grow, right? But also, if you look at and most people, even some people that I've known in this industry that have been in this industry for 20, 30 years, have never gone through the math exercise of what is the true value of a new property in your rental program. And if you actually pencil it out and do the math, right? So I'll do a quick little example. Well, let me back up. I would argue there's not a better return on investment, that you can do as an owner of a vacation rental management company than add new inventory, right? You can work your butt off to squeak out one or two more reservations. You can really work, turn the levers and pull all those knobs and everything else to get, an extra 3 to 5% in revenue management. But what you could have done just by adding one extra rental property into your portfolio, that's like getting 25 guests, right? And that those guests don't go away, right? They're there year after year after year if you think about it, but just adding that property. So I would argue there's not a better ROI out there than adding new inventory. And if you pencil it out and you do the math, and I'll walk through a quick example. If you add a property right now into your rental program, let's say it's doing, let's be conservative, $50,000 in gross booking revenue. What we found, Eric, is the average vacation rental management company, we've asked this question hundreds of times, nets about 10% of their gross booking revenue. So that one property, $50,000 in gross booking revenue, 10% is going to fall to the bottom line as net profit. So we're $5,000. But the beauty of vacation rentals is predictable recurring revenue. That property stays in your rental program for more than 1 year, right? It most likely, based on the averages we've seen, if you have about 10% churn, which is average, the lifetime in years is 10 years. So that one property making $5,000 a year, it's going to stay in your program for 10 years, is worth $50,000. Again, I would argue there's not a better ROI out there than adding more inventory. And again, that's just one property, 50,000. But I think you even go one step further. That's one property. Imagine if you had 10, you can just obviously multiply those numbers times 10. But there's also an exit valuation. Many vacation rental managers are thinking about eventually they may sell out. They may sell their company. There is a value to every one of those companies. And if you talk to, Dylan Burgess in our M&A department, you talk to, Jim and Jacoby Olin, they're going to tell you you're probably looking 3 to 5 times your net profit is what the value of one contract is. So think about that for a second. That property is doing 5,000. If we're conservative and just say, it's got a 4 times multiple, that contract is worth $20,000 when you go to sell your company. So again, if we help you get 10 properties this year, for current tides, there's an extra 200 grand when you retire, because of that exit valuation. So again, great ROI.
Yeah. And so basically there's digital markers will tell us, that direct mail is dead, and it's true. Is this true for our inventory acquisition? I mean,
yeah, I would say no. Yeah, I would say no. I mean, direct mail is not dead. This is one of the few industries where it still works. But again, it's only one part of the strategy, but direct mail still works in vacation rentals. But the key with it is you've got to do it right, and you've got to do it consistently. So the key with direct mail, you can't just send one postcard a year, two postcards a year and expect that it's going to work. You need to consistently do it month after month after month. So, and again, the math pencils out. Let's say you send out 1,000 postcards and the average cost is $1 for those postcards. The Direct Marketing Association says the average response rate in direct mail is 1/2%. So those 1,000 letters are going to give you 5 responses. Now, let's say your conversion is 20%. So that means you're going to convert 1 out of those 5 you got. You have $1,000 investment to get 1 property. So your CAC, your cost to acquire new customers, is $1,000. I would argue, I would take all day long, I would spend $1,000 to get a property that does, that previous example we talked about, that's $50,000. So direct mail is not dead. The key is you have to do it correctly. You've got to be consistent with the messaging.
And this whole activity, as we're learning, is this is not instantaneous gratification. This is we're plowing the ground and we're planting seeds.
Absolutely. And people are in different, you're absolutely right. People are in different phases of the buyer journey, right? And your goal is just to move them along. And the beauty of direct mail too is it has a long shelf life. I mean, I don't know if it was one of your campaigns or somebody else, one of our other partners, but we just got a call 1.5 years in, after we sent the postcard, because we do call tracking on every single one, and we got unique phone numbers. 1.5 years after we sent this postcard campaign, this gentleman called in and it ended up converting into a deal.
Yeah, and so every time we send a card or we send an email, people may keep that and say, well, next year I may sell, or maybe next year I want to change, or now it's not the right time. So it just takes time. What's the average time, do you think, to begin seeing results?
Yeah, it does take. I mean, here's the thing: we've seen them in. We've launched a couple email campaigns immediately for our partners, and we get response rates immediately. We have a partner in Kauai. The first email campaign we did, we got 2 deals within the first 30 days, and each one of those properties was doing over $100,000 in gross booking revenue just from one email campaign. But typically, it's a longer cycle. And again, it comes to that consistency. So you're going to see. Usually you see a pop like right when they come, and then you see a long trickle. But what we're doing though is we're not hitting them just one time, right? We're hitting them multiple times, and we're hitting them in different channels, multiple different marketing channels. So it's called omni-channel marketing.
Yeah, and that's the next topic we want to talk about. So you talk about omni-channel marketing. What is it, and why is it so important?
Yeah. So again, the key is different people act in different ways, and they're going to respond to different marketing channels. So one of our key things we do here at Vintory is we deploy what's called an omni-channel marketing approach. And what that omni-channel marketing approach is, hitting them in all different angles and hitting them simultaneously. So for every new target, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish the targets we're going after through the database. And then we're going to segment those lists into what we call like our A targets, our B targets, and our C targets. And then what the omni-channel marketing approach does is, all right, we're going to hit them with direct mail. So we talked about that previously. We're going to hit them with email. We're going to hit them. We have an entire digital marketing team that does PPC. So we're going to making sure that we're running those ads. We're also going to do, and this has been probably one of the biggest game changers in the vacation rental industry of recent, is what's called list-based retargeting or custom audiences. And this is where you take their profiles, you obtain their, this is one of the things our data scientist team does, is we actually get their social profiles, and now we can actually serve up display ads directly to those targets we're going after. And it's not just doing it through like traditional Facebook, where you're just kind of triangulating it and just like based on their likes and interest and where they live. We're actually kind of appending it through their email addresses and their phones to actually get their actual social profile, so we can serve up those display ads directly to them. And then we have another channel. This is a little bit like a CIA-ish, but we actually have the ability to do IP targeting, where we can serve up display ads directly to our targets. And then the last part of kind of that omni-channel marketing approach, Eric, is retargeting. So we're going to make sure that the landing pages that we're driving all these prospects to they've got the Google Pixel and Facebook Pixel on there. So we know even the best landing pages, the best performing landing pages, 80 to 95% of the time, we're not capturing their information. They're not filling out the form. So by cooking them and retargeting. We want to bring them along that sales funnel and kind of get them further on, and then continue to serve up display ads directly to them. So doing that omni-channel marketing approach, what we've seen is you get a boost effect on the response rates. So you may not get somebody that necessarily clicks on the email. You may not get somebody that necessarily responds to that email or clicks on one of those display ads, but you get a boost effect on some of the other marketing channels. And we've had a lot of success with that.
And so all omni channels you're talking about are like email, regular direct mail, and then social, correct? And then you're retargeting.
Yep, list-based retargeting and the IP targeting as well. And then you even have, managing kind of the digital campaigns with, PPC, out there.
Okay, good. So what are some software tools you'd recommend for vacation rental managers to increase their inventory?
Yeah. So, I mean, if I were talking to a friend at a conference or something like that, and they said, "Hey, Brooke, I don't want to sign up for you, but what would be some tools that you'd be interested, would help me, grow?" I mean, the first thing is tracking all the leads. That's probably the most critical piece. It blows my mind how many people they're using sticky notes or notepads to track it. So, I mean, there are plenty of CRMs out there, very inexpensive ones. And it doesn't need to be fancy. I mean, it can be a Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. Just capture the information. That's the most important thing. Capture their name, their address, their mailing address, the property address, their email address, phone numbers, as much as you can capture that information in any kind of notes. But the one we really recommend is HubSpot. The basic HubSpot platform is free forever. It has great, it's unlimited users, up to 1 million leads. It's probably one of the most solid CRM platforms out there. I will warn everybody, it's really good, and there's lots of great upgrades you can do. So most people will end up wanting to upgrade just because of that, but it's okay. It's still a great platform, the free version. The other things I would recommend, there's a great call tracking service called CallRail. And for a very inexpensive, you get almost as many phone numbers or 800 numbers as you want. And you can push out these numbers out there. So every single marketing campaign is going to be tracked. You can track the response rates. You can track the conversion rates. You can even listen to the calls that come in. So let's just say you're out and about and you don't have a pen and paper to write it with. You can just ask the prospective owner those questions, and you can go back to it and listen to it later. Plus, if you work with HubSpot, it has a native integration. So that native integration goes right, the call rail goes right into HubSpot. So every one of those calls is recorded and it gets attached as a new lead when you do it. The next one is, when you're sending out all these marketing campaigns, you want to send them to a very specific landing page. And it, you can do it on your domain if you want, but if you want to be able to track it a little bit better, track the response rates by campaigns, we recommend Unbounce. There's another company called ClickFunnels. These are two great, technology platforms, if you will, as far as, tracking all those leads and nurturing those leads through the sales funnel.
Yeah, great. I mean, these are all tools that we're currently using right now through Vintory, and we're liking them and helping us track all of our information. No sticky notes here.
Good.
So what's the lowest hanging fruit out there for vacation rental managers that they can do to improve their inventory acquisition? Or basically, if there's only one thing you could recommend to a vacation rental manager to grow their inventory, what would it be? What's that one thing?
Yeah, great question. And I get this a lot, and I say the same thing almost every single time. And it comes down to really, many vacation rental managers have a lot of traffic already coming to their website. But if you look at we do this with every new partner we sign up, we go through this exercise. If you look at their current landing page, their current property management page, or inquire more information, it's pretty bad. So what I would recommend you do is do a complete revamp of that landing page to use it as create a traditional sales funnel on there. So there's some basic things you can do. And if anybody emails me, Brooke@Vintory.com, I'm glad to send you. We have an infographic. It's the elements of that make a great landing page. I'm happy to send that to everybody, but I'll kind of highlight those real briefly. The first is you want to have a form above the fold, right? Like the worst thing you can do is be searching and searching and searching through this page to find out, to fill out, to get more information. And you'll be surprised how many people don't have any kind of form on there, Or if they have, if they have anything, maybe they have an email address and that's it. But you want to have a form. You want to have that form above the fold. You also want to highlight your USPs. USPs are unique selling propositions, right? What sets you apart? What makes you unique? What makes you better than every person, every management company in your market? So clearly define what those USPs are, focused on the owner side of it, and the persona that you're going after, these property owners. Next up, what you want to do is you want to create some risk reversals, right? You want to reduce friction as much as you can during that buying process. So what are some things that you can do to eliminate that friction? I'll give you an example. It's, maybe it's no long-term contracts. Maybe it's no startup fees. Maybe it's 100%, satisfaction guaranteed. Like, what can you do to make it as simple as possible for somebody to sign up into your rental program? Next up, you want to do a compelling offer. Like, give them something, a reason to want to sign up, right? I will give very much a lot of credit to Vacasa. They leveraged this and it worked really, really well. They grew a lot of their inventory from it. Their compelling offer was something to the effect of, we will beat your current management company, or we will refund you our management fees. So that was also kind of a compelling offer and a risk reversal. If you think about it, like, what do I have to lose? They're guaranteeing that they're going to improve my rental income. Or we've had some other our partners offer a guaranteed rental income program. And that's another great compelling offer. But there's some basic things you can do on a landing page to increase that conversion rate. And the last thing I would say, and most people don't do this, there's only a handful of companies that I've actually seen do this, is on your homepage, put like a large button, maybe in the upper right-hand corner, that says something like partner with us or list with us. Give them a call to action for those owners that are thinking about signing up. If you think, again, if we go through that exercise, and I won't do it, but that exercise of the value of one new property into your rental program and how valuable that is, you really need to take a more proactive approach to trying to not just get guests, but actually get owners that are, on this traffic that's coming naturally to your website.
Yeah, all great points. Definitely things that we learned as we went through Vintory. It's been good, particularly the call to action after you spend so much time and all this effort, and you won't ask for the sale, or at least the review. It's not good.
Yeah.
So great points, all great points. So Brooke, how has COVID impacted or changed Vintory? One of the things I've learned through this, there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the space, and so when the going gets tough, they get going, and people have innovated different ways. And I really think as we come out into 2021, we're going to see all the fruits of this innovation that's been laying dormant, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's something in Vintory that's like that as well.
Yeah. So COVID, I mean, we were lucky that we were 100% remote to begin with. COVID hit about almost exactly a year in. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary, but we were 100% remote. So we didn't have any kind of effect there. But I will be the first to admit, I tell you what, from middle of March to probably end of April, I was scared. We lost about half our partners, or I should say half our partners paused. And it was a scary time. Not only did we do that, but we all of our upfront sales ceased. And it was a little nerve wracking, but I don't know what it was. I felt like a switch got flipped around very end of April, maybe early May. And almost every single partner that went on pause came back. We started selling again. And from that point on, it ramped up. And I would say, as I'm sure, most vacation rental managers, unless they're in an urban market or they're in Hawaii, almost every single vacation rental manager out there that I know of, and the ones we talk to, they're up. They're actually up big. And what you're seeing, though, is many of these vacation rental owners are churning. They're changing hands. And I actually wrote an article on VRM Intel that talked about that COVID was probably going to be one of the greatest inventory, changes that ever happened. And I think it's true. I think more inventory is changing hands now than has ever changed hands before. This is a once in a lifetime type of an opportunity. So the long-winded answer, the short-winded answer, I guess, of this would be, COVID has actually benefited Vintory and the majority of our partners.
Yeah, it didn't look like it in the beginning. That's certainly, and it's one of these things we have to look beyond. And we certainly did the same thing. And Yeah, we're doubling each year, and that's what we're working for in 2021 as well.
Yep.
So, what are some opportunities or challenges that Vintory is facing today?
Yeah, so Eric, our mission is to help every vacation rental manager on the planet grow their inventory in one fashion or another, whether it be, in a very small scale through education or through in a large scale where we are, holding their hands. And the challenge that we have, and I have as kind of CEO of this company, is how do we build a business model that scales, that allows every one of those personas do that. So that's what I kind of stay up at night trying to think and brainstorm and strategize over.
Great. As we wrap up, what's one of your big goals that you want to accomplish in 2021?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said before, where, we want to help every vacation rental manager out there, grow their inventory. So how do we build that business model? And the business model that, what we've established is that does that is through software. Software, if you think about it, is really infinitely scalable. And Mark Andreessen wrote a very famous article about 15 years ago. It talks about software is eating the world, and it's so true. There will not be businesses in the future that are software companies and non-software companies. There will only be companies that are leveraging software to grow. So, from my perspective, it's that's probably one of the biggest goals we have. And I'll give you a little first tease here. We are launching a software platform. And it's unbelievable. And it'll allow every single vacation rental management company out there to grow their inventory. So it doesn't matter if they're a tiny little startup or if they're one of the big national, conglomerates. Every single company out there can leverage this tool to scale their inventory. And we're excited about that launch here in the next couple of months.
Great. We're looking forward to seeing that.
Mhm.
And Brooke, is there anything else that I didn't cover that you wanted to mention?
You know what? I would say, and I kind of touched on this in the beginning. I'm a big fan of leverage effects. And if you think about, again, if you want to grow your top line revenue, if you want to, grow your profits, what is the best, most efficient way to do that? And we talked about a little bit before where, you can really hustle and really turn, the knobs and pull the levers and everything else to get an extra 3 to 5% in revenue management. And again, that's great. You need to do that. Or you can really work your, create tons of marketing campaigns and email campaigns to try to get 1 or 2 more reservations a year. But if you really truly want a leverage effect, it's it's adding inventory. That one property, like I said, it's like adding 25 to 30 to 35, 40, guests or reservations. And if you can do that and do that efficiently, you can really scale your business. And the last thing I guess I'd say, Eric, would be this would be just a helpful hint for anyone that's looking to grow their inventory, is lay out a plan. So often, I've seen vacation rental managers. They're like, all right, I'm ready to. All right, I'm ready to grow my inventory. And inventory acquisition falls into, I don't know if you remember, like what's called the Eisenhower matrix. They have like important, not important, urgent, not urgent. And inventory acquisition falls into that bucket of important but not urgent. So what happens? It doesn't get done. So what I would recommend is laying out that plan strategically. And again, the key is to be consistent with it. Sending out 1 or 2 postcards a year is not a proper, inventory acquisition strategy. Set your goals, understand, where do I want to be at the end of the year? I want to add 20 properties this year. All right, we'll work backwards on what that comes down to. Look at your response rates, look at your conversion rates, and reverse engineer to get to those numbers. And then to get to that, it's like, all right, how many direct mail pieces do I need to send out this year? How many emails do I need to send out this year? How many deals do I need to drive from PPC? And pull out a very strategic long-term plan. And again, know that there's that consistency principle. You need to continue to follow through with it. And again, though, I do sympathize because I understand. Remember, I've been in your shoes. I've been in the shoes of every single vacation rental manager out there. And I understand when you've got screaming guests, you've got owners, you've got your maintenance people, you got housekeeping issues. Like, again, that inventory acquisition ends up falling to that wrong bucket that ends up not getting done. So again, I would just lay out the plan and be consistent with it.
Okay, good idea. So, Brooke, how can people get in touch with you and learn more about you and Vintory?
Yeah, well, really easy. Just email me at Brooke with an E at Vintory.com. So BROOKE at VINTORY.com. Or they can just go to our website, Vintory.com, and there's a form on there. You can fill it out. And happy to help out anybody. We're big believers in help, don't sell. So if anybody has any questions and would like to kind of brainstorm some strategy sessions around their direct mail or the landing pages, we're always happy to help out.
Great. Thanks, Brooke. We appreciate you coming in and giving us some advice on how to grow our inventory here as we're in 2021, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Brooke.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to Safer VR's podcast with Eric Thibodeau. If you enjoy this, I would love you to join my Facebook group, The Safer Vacation Rentals, for more of the same. You can also join our email list at www.safervrs.com.